Hello, I'm Anthony Mackenzie. Today I'd like to share what I think could be a useful point of entry into my framework for a university curriculum of becoming for the 21st century, as presented in my doctoral thesis. Actually, I need to qualify the term framework because it implies something fixed, whereas curriculum of becoming is more a way of thinking, or world of thought, or liquid blueprint. It continues to gel for me. Ideas in initially separate clouds of logic, continuously asking to be taken into account by others around them or far away. It is a world of thought that is unfolding, as we might expect of a theory of becoming. The entry point I'd like to offer today is the hauntingly simple description of the goal of a university curriculum of becoming, to produce novice, rounded, grounded practitioners. The concepts of roundedness and groundedness are defined in my recent conference paper, A University Curriculum of Becoming, and in the thesis soon to be published. My point here is that this compound description of the target graduate elegantly and economically encapsulates the integrated outcome of a curriculum of becoming, a composite idea that serves the brief of holistic education, rounded, as well as providing a social realist account of education for practice, grounded. In the thought piece that complements this presentation, I coin the term deep aligning, which in the present context is the attuning of our concept of curriculum practice to a richer conception of the human phenomenon. I take human phenomenon to be a catch-all that spans everything we know about ourselves and the world. It is as broad as humankind's entire opus of artifacts, knowledge, and lived experience. It is our collective inheritance and all our private and shared hopes and aspirations, as refracted in our texts, our art, and our lives. Further, the human phenomenon is, we humans are, inexorably dependent on the physiosphere and the biosphere that support us, and so the human phenomenon can only be apprehended within its context in space and time. In essence, though, the human phenomenon is the becoming of us. While educators commonly see their role as helping students achieve their potential, in a curriculum of becoming mind space, we recognize the even bigger mystery that every student's journey of becoming, of learning to live more meaningfully, is, in microcosm, the hologenesis, the coming to be of humankind. Realizing one's potential is not flying solo. We belong to the only species we know of which understands that to give is to receive. We are not only gregarious in the bovine manner, we depend on others for our own fulfillment. As we embrace the notion that realizing our human potential is a communal unfurling, we align ourselves and our practice more deeply to the human phenomenon itself. This is deep aligning. Education is, or can become, the preeminent means for humankind to discern and realize its potential. Such a mind space is utopian in the sense that education itself is utopian, because teachers think they can help students achieve their potential, bring out the best in them. If our sense of the 21st century is one in which the planet is turning apocalyptically sour, where we echo the fictional Hanrahan's wail, "We'll all be ruined, that is ruined," O'Brien, 1953, a theory of human becoming is just what we need to refocus education practice. It proposes that the history of civilization is the story of the battle between our higher and lower selves, and that a curriculum of becoming seeks to cultivate our higher selves. The higher-lower self dichotomy is simply a way of making sense of the way we experience ourselves. Is this called disarray we stand in? A planet turning apocalyptically sour. Responding to the fear that environmental degradation has gone too far, too sour to reverse the spiral, David Suzuki still maintains that, quote, One has to cling to the hope that we don't know enough to say it's too late, and so we just have to keep hammering away and doing the best that we can. Suzuki, 2013. The higher self always seeks to straddle the tectonic plate where stark realism and utopianism eye each other off. To borrow social realist Margaret Archer's crystalline expression, the human phenomenon took the road it did because of, quote, the way the world is and the way we are, Archer, 2000. Us, forever potentially rounded and grounded. Oliver might well say to Stanley, well, here's another nice mess you've gotten me into. But really, we're all in this disarray together. The way the world is, and the way we are. The hologenesis of humankind resides in the efforts of individuals to realize their own potential and to make a difference for good in the world. It is each one's higher self, the gold, purified of the dross of self-interest, who holds the key to our shared becoming. Straddling the tectonic plate. Bearing the tension of being simultaneously realistic and utopian makes us in-between persons, which is what we already are by virtue of the nature of our experience of coming to understand. Philosophical hermeneutics insists that, quote, the locus of our understanding invariably involves being in between what, on the one hand, we have understood, and what, on the other hand, we intuit we have yet to understand. In the eyes of philosophical hermeneutics, to be a subject is always to be in between. A being who resides in the in-between is a being whose being is always open, vulnerable, and in question. Davy, 2006. Life is a hermeneutic journey and story, which is to say that to realize our individual potential as persons of substance, we need to develop our capacity to engage meaningfully in the world, however stressful the straddling feels. All of this gives educators in these closing-in times much food for thought. It is such a challenge that a curriculum of becoming engages in. The transcript of this presentation is available at the address on screen. The transcript includes my reference list and details of images used in the presentation. You can also download a thought piece on some of these ideas. Changing course, the human phenomenon, deep aligning, living meaningfully.